virtual hybrid meetings going from here? There's already been so much evolution, but like, what's next?
Can I jump in?
Please.
So the term hybrid, as you well know, Rachel, came in late 2020. It was becoming more and more of a normalized term. And I think ideally the whole point is it's having some folks in an office and some folks somewhere else. That's really what it boils down to. And I arguably feel this term has become slightly obsolete because with the way the so-called return to work, should we say, evolution is carrying forth versus those who are still very adamant in having flexible time to work from any particular location, not just WFH, but WFA, which is working from anywhere. The idea of hybrid is not really giving the full picture. It's some people are at the workplace and they're happening to connect there. There could be a conference meeting where a group of people are meeting in person. It's becoming not as regular because more and more people are choosing to be remote based in certain times. I mean, ultimately, if you're going to go into a physical work location to dial into a virtual call, why are you in the physical location? Might as well just stay at home and make that connection. So ultimately, when you look at where it's going, I think it's coming down to behavior and being more mindful in how we tend to see this. Because Rachel, you hear this from a lot of folks that they say, oh no, the virtual experience is much worse, not as great as that in-person experience. But what are they doing? What kind of intention are they putting towards that virtual interaction to make sure that folks feel engaged and included and feel value out of that interaction with you?
Yeah, no, absolutely. We get that all the time with at Virtual Sapiens. Obviously, the work that we're doing is to help the humans who are behind the screens really show up. But it's so funny. I think Zoom, maybe 6 months or so ago, you probably saw this article came out and they were like, we're bringing everyone back into the office because you can't build trust over video. And I was like, okay, first of all, wow, like Zoom, you're saying that you can't build trust over your own platform. Like, we all know that that's not true. No. But second of all, like, it's like we're missing the point. Like, if we're not being able to build trust is a behavioral thing. It's not a channel-based thing. You can build trust over the telephone, you know?
Like, and just like yourself, MeetBee is a remote-first company. We started in the pandemic, and our people are distributed all across the world. Not everyone's even met each other. So,
and we've never met our clients too, if I can say that. You know, we probably never will in many cases. Never ever meet them face to face, and that's okay. You don't have to. You know, I trust Google. I've never met Google or all the founders of Google. It's not. I think it was a really silly statement on their part to say such a thing.
I was so shocked. But yeah, I mean, to your point, I think it's so interesting to hear you, Marc, say how even the term hybrid and the concept hybrid is so much more multifaceted now, than it was when it first came to us in 2020.
Yeah.
I kind of look at, to answer that question, where do I see it going from here? The question is, how far do you want me to go in the future? Because I sort of said, I have a tendency to think a little bit too far sometimes. But, I kind of look to the science fiction that we all grew up with, the Star Trek and the Star Wars, as ways to sort of see how we might be able to connect. Because the way that if we see Obi-Wan Kenobi coming up, or Darth Vader chatting to the Emperor or whatever, and he just comes up as like a hologram. Well, that's a virtual meeting. There's a bunch of people in the room, and there's somebody on another planet. Who knows where they are? If you see Captain Kirk talk to the Klingons over the up periscope, whatever he says, and says up screen, and he has a virtual meeting, he doesn't say, "Oh, hold on, did we send them the right Zoom link?" So I think there's what I see is happening. Is a blurring of the platforms into something that's a little bit more cohesive, so that it's just easier to connect with people. I think there's a lot of companies trying to fight their way to be the predominant force for that. I don't know who's going to win ultimately. But I always said to Marc, if you look at Star Trek and Scotty, it's like, beam me up, Scotty. Everyone knows that phrase. I said, one day, Scotty is one of our people. He's one of our MeetBee producers, right? He's the guy that's facilitating the connecting of people, whether that's physically beaming them down through whatever technology that is, or doing it virtually. This is what it's about. It's about connecting. And I think that we'll never, no matter how far we go into the future, we're never as a species going to stop wanting to connect with people even if it's one day between planets.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Amazing.